This conference will now be recorded.
All right, as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. All right, so let's start off with Twitter. What a I hate saying easy, but I mean, it really doesn't get much easier than that. What a beautiful trade that we had come into this morning. So we know we needed to pull up from the buying that we had, the buying that we had, the selling that we had sitting there at that 3150 level. We ended up pulling up and a beautiful trigger that came in this morning. And I mean, it was just, I mean, from there, we have more selling that came in at that 3050 level. Now, 31's been extremely mixed. We've had a mix of buy prints, we have a mix of sell prints, just kind of all over the place, but we still do have that selling that's sitting down there at that 350 level. 365 was an interesting level because it was really trying to hold it very, very well until it eventually kind of fell off. We got a little bit of volume pushing in towards that 30, just wasn't able to make it even on both tries that we had sitting there. So what that makes me believe is that buying at 31 is going to be satisfied before we really end up getting that big move down, to below, past that 30, because 30 is the level based off the amount of selling that we have there. We should not be able to see that thing hold at all. One thing that is a little bit shocking today, though, is its range. Okay, $1.42 on average, it trades at $1.40, so we really did not get much range at all. What that tells me is there's still room left for this thing to start to move this afternoon. Now, it might not look like that, but based off the variables that we have there, certainly gives that opportunity. So based off having that buying at 31, and I'm taking them more as riders because the heavier prints that we saw coming into this morning were all selling, I'm going to be expecting to look at that range of closer towards the upside. But one thing it's going to have to do is break that 3108 print line first. All the ballsy positions right under it's it's just something based right now. I'm going to tell you, based off the selling that we had there, if it was going to make its move to the downside, there's no reason in the world that shouldn't have happened already. So what that tells me is that I'm going to be looking for that upside move to get its range first, just because of that. And at once 100%, that's just another added variable, those ballsy positions right underneath that 31 level. All right, let's take a look at what else we had. So we also had SLDB. So SLDB was in a beautiful trade this morning. It was just all buying. It was one of those stocks, again, where it wasn't the prettiest trading stock. It was very consolidated, but it was also extremely consistent. We get a push up, come back down, then we get a bar out of nowhere for an entry. Okay, we get that push up, another bar down. We get that another push up, another bar down. It was trading almost exactly the same throughout the entire day. Now, as of right this second, it's pretty much dead. I don't see any real hope left in it. It hasn't got a kiss of death. It's still holding in that consolidation, but overall, I don't see much. I don't see many variables out there that tell me that this thing's going to get any breath of life that comes back into it for us to really be able to do anything with. STI, another one that we were looking at that was merged with BBT today, and a beautiful move to the downside. I really didn't get to trade this much. I didn't really get to look at it much because this morning there was just a lot of stuff that was going on, which is a great problem to have, but didn't really get to see too much going on there. One thing I can tell you, though, is as of pretty much 11:30-ish, more 11:45-ish, it's just been sitting in this consolidation with not much volume being traded in at all, so just don't really have much of an interest in that. BBT, almost the same exact chart. So, I mean, it's nothing that went on STI that didn't go on there. BIOC was another one that we were looking at, and unfortunately, it got exactly what we talked about earlier. A lot of times these stocks, say these cheaper stocks, I mean, it makes that run, and BIOC is notorious for ends up not becoming a very good trade at all. And that's what we saw. It just got sold off once the market opened. Now, Grub is something we are going to be keeping on our afternoon list. This thing, ever since its guidance call, has just not done anything but look towards that upside. We had some really nice selling that came into it this morning, made for a really smooth, phenomenal short, but on its way down, we kept getting buying, and then pretty much at that 10:30 point, we saw this thing just take off, and like I said, just not looking back. So obviously, we're going to need to see what comes in here at 81. 80 did not have enough prints in there for me to be able to say, okay, well, we're going to be looking for it to continue back up towards this trigger around 85, 86 level. So there's just not much there yet. We need more. A stock like this, remember, the orders are so thin. We don't need a ton of prints. So 2, 3, 4, 5 prints in a burst, it's going to tell us exactly what this thing is looking to do. So we just need to see that as it's been moving up. We haven't really got that new buying coming into yet, but probably one of the better things for us to look at. Then we had HOIRE, which I didn't really get to look at all. Pretty much it went in consolidation this morning, and I took it right off. And then PULM made for a beautiful trade. PULM. Made for a beautiful trade towards that upside. We got a real nice trigger back towards the buying that we originally saw this morning for why we put it on our list, and we pulled up to 2. Had beautiful aspirants coming at 2. We knew it had to pull back, and then it got the kiss of death. So at that point, we know these cheaper stocks, that's one of those variables, just nothing to look at anymore. But it did make for a very nice trade, especially for such a cheap stock. So the only other thing that I really got going on besides our everyday stocks right now is HBI. And the reason behind this is because it's a cheaper stock, even though it's $18, which is, definitely more expensive than a single-digit stock, but obviously. But we're sitting at that 1050 level, 1850 level, and we do have some really nice buying, especially from the first time that this thing popped back up. So we kind of pulled back already down to that 18 level. It's not a huge mover, so 50 cents is where we're going to start when we're looking for a pull-ups and pullback. And it has room. It's got the buying up there. The only thing it doesn't have is the trading. Okay, we need more consistent trading for this thing to really go anywhere. But once again, it does have that buying sitting there at that 1850. Real nice position being built throughout this entire consolidation. So we, by far, it's something that we have to look at. It's got all the variables. It's just missing the trading aspect of it as of right this second. A few other things to look at. So another one, let's take a look at SQ, because I know everyone has, is going to be asking anyway. So when we look at in our SQ, it's beautiful. I mean, we have a great selling at 72. We have great selling at 71. We have great, well, we didn't get to 70.50, and you can see this made for a beautiful trade back towards that upside. But we never pulled back from those prints at 72. So what happened? Push into a major level. We did not hit it, trigger back up, and it's not looked back since. So we need that selling at 72 to be satisfied before we're going to be looking for this thing to go back down. Okay, the first spot obviously would be this print line, which it already hit. And the next point would be to get around to right here, where we have this resistance sitting there right about 75.35 in that area. That's the next point that we're going to be looking at it before it could end up coming back down. The amount of prints we saw at 72, though, I would not be shocked to see it break past there at all. But that's where I'm going to be looking for the first movement towards that downside. Trigger twittered. Of course it did, because I'm talking. Let's take a look. Yep, beautiful. Okay, needed to go above that 31.08, but overall, I mean, I would have taken that trade 10 times out of 10. All right. So that's pretty much what I got going on out there. Now, Facebook is another one. Facebook's had some really nice selling that's came into it today. We've had, right before I left for lunch, we had a lot of the techs see some real big sell bursts that came back in, and most of them are just pulling up from those at this moment. It's not really on buying. So something to keep in mind. What about buying at 75? In what? In SQ? Yeah, absolutely. Remember, what's the number that I'm still expecting SQ to go above? 100%. What's the number that SQ? Well, 75, but what's the reason that I'm expecting it to go above 75 first? There we go. Yeah, absolutely. The buying at 75, I'm still expecting it to go back up. That's an overall trade, though. I'm talking about what I'm looking for today. Okay, coming into the afternoon time, I'm not going to be able to look for any type of overall trades, because statistically speaking, are we going to get volume this afternoon that's going to give us a trade that really is going to be over about 50 cents comfortably, just from what we've seen? Unfortunately not. So I can't look at an overall trade. Okay, what I need to do is I need to look at my, what's going to happen, so where I'm going to be able to make money this afternoon coming into things. Okay, I highly, highly, highly doubt SQ is going to break up above 74 today. It's just not, it's just based off the variables that we have out there, just not in the cards. But yes, absolutely, you're 100% right. All right, guys. So other than that, our news that I'm just waiting. I just spoke to we should know by the end of the week. Well, it should be approved by the end of the week, and then I'll go and explain that to you as soon as I can. But believe me, I have not forgot. I can't say anything until it is completely finalized. All right, but they did say by the end of the week. All right, guys. So I will talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading. Will who? You will know soon enough.